This is XFM.
Drive Time
with Clint Boon.
This is
Salford. Hello, I'm Clint Boon. Let's talk about music. Music isn't just about songs and people, it's just as much about places. Where it's written, where it's recorded, and where it's performed. Music can have a long effect on an area. It can leave an impression or a footprint. And music's always changing and evolving. But its roots are always in the same sort of places. Venues, rehearsal rooms, recording studios, streets like this. And as well as breeding some of the best, Salford's become a stop-off point for some of the world's most successful and influential musicians. Welcome to the Salford Music Map.
XFM.
Clint Boon.
So right now I'm standing outside one of the buildings that's probably one of the most important buildings in Salford in terms of the creative output of the city. This is Islington Mill, which, like a lot of other buildings around here, was an old cotton mill. And it stood derelict for decades, and then in 1994 or thereabouts, a fashion graduate called Bill Campbell discovered it, stumbled across it and realised the potential of it. And he basically took over it and made it into a haven for creative people. So at the moment it's got 50 or so artists working here. Some of them live here, and they're anything from ceramic workers to painters to musicians. It's famous in the last couple of years for being the home of the Ting Tings. They actually lived here and wrote the #1 album here and did a lot of gigs here. There's a performance space, a proper nightclub area in there. And it's where all the underground kids hang out at the moment. It's in the middle of having a bit of investment at the moment. There's some great work going on inside it. And it's just, it's real, to me, it's a real jewel in the crown for Salford. What goes on in here is absolutely stuff that you're going to be hearing about over the next 5, 10, 15 years in terms of art, which is a good thing. And as a direct result of what's been happening here over the last couple of years, we've got a new festival on the regional map, which is called Sounds from the Other City. So the other city is Salford as opposed to Manchester, obviously. And it means that a lot of the little venues around here, the little pubs and Islington Mill and the local churches are now putting on gigs every year. There's an annual event, every year, Clint, nice one. And lots of gigs happening, and that event itself is getting bigger with every year. So, time to visit one of Salford's most famous sons, and to do that we've been invited out to the home of Mr. Peter Hook. He's the bass player of Joy Division, New Order, Monaco, Revenge, Freebase, The Light. He's also written a book. He's got another book coming out soon. He owns a club again, and he's an internationally renowned club DJ. Peter Hook, how are you, dear?
That sounds fantastic.
It's good, isn't it?
Considering you taught me how to do most of them, I think you should definitely big yourself up there.
Thank you, thank you. He was also my best man when we got married, which I'm quite proud of. So we're here to talk about Salford. You were born in Salford, weren't you? What part of Salford was it?
Ashley Brook, on just by Langworthy Road, by Chimney Pot Park. You know, I mean, I actually lived there between divorces. For quite a while, and it was amazing how much I enjoyed it. You know, when I had the Hacienda years, I was always in Salford, and we always went straight from Salford to the Hacienda, and then back to Salford. So, you know, I'm very, very much a Salford lad. And
you've always been really vocal about it, even when it was in the early days of the, the Manchester thing and all that, when all the world was talking about Manchester. You were always, yourself and Tony Wilson, were always quick to correct people and say, no, we're talking about, a band called Happy Mondays that are from Salford, and Peter Hook of New Order from Salford. So why did you always consider it to be important?
Because as Joy Division, we started in Salford, and when we met Ian Curtis, he lived in Stretford. Bernard and I have always come from Salford, and we used to practice and write most of our material in Salford. The musical heritage that Manchester has, because of Salford, is still so important and so big all around the world. Everywhere you go, with the Ting Tings, again, from Salford, you've got a huge crossover band there that have gone all around the world. And people think they're a Manchester band. But, I suppose it's that thing, as long as we know, then we can rest.
That's good, that's good. Putting the records straight, that's what it's all about. Well, Peter Hook, Salfordonian. How do you say Salfordonian? What is it?
Salfordian.
Salford kid, Peter Hook. It's great to see a man with such passion for his roots, and always a pleasure to talk to him.
And you, thank you.
This is Salford, right in the middle of Salford, the hustle and the bustle, the occasional crying child, the smoking scally walking out of a general store over there. but this is one of the most iconic locations in rock and roll history. This spot is where, in the early 1980s, a photographer called Stephen Wright photographed a band called the Smiths and put this location firmly on the map. It is one of the most famous locations in the world, I reckon. It's Salford Lads Club. Traditionally, it's always been a bit of a community centre for local kids to learn about football and to play snooker and other sort of arts and crafts related stuff. Never actually used as such as rehearsal rooms. I think the occasional band did use it as a rehearsal room. Apparently the Smiths never actually went inside the building, they just stood out here and did the business. It's famous as well because soon XFM are about to stage the first ever live music event at this venue, and that is the Cortinas at the Salford Lads Club. Absolutely brilliant. So this is the King's Arms. This is a little pub on a little side street just off Juicy Street, and it's used as a venue. That's what it is. It's just a small venue, probably 150 or so capacity in the room upstairs, and downstairs it's very much got the feel of a local, you know, Northern English pub. The most famous gig they've had here was probably the one where The Darkness played as part of the In the City Music Festival, and they ended up getting themselves a major record deal. So now King's Arms equals Darkness. Some people would say that's a bad thing, but there you go, it's the truth. Oh, it's the phone, hold on a sec. This is the legendary jukebox in the King's Arms in Salford. There won't be a better jukebox than this in the country, I promise you. The Spiral Carpets, that's good, T-Rex. Clint Boon Experience. You're Liam, yeah? What's he said that for? Why has he said that? Fucking brilliant, what a great jukebox that is. Love forever changes. I don't think she's attractive. Yeah, sorry, where are we up to there? So here we are in Blueprint Studios, and as you can see it's another red brick cathedral. Proper working class roots, man. Another old industrial building that's been put to great use over the last few years. It's actually one of the most well-known recording studios in the northwest of England now, mainly because of the work that Elbow have done here. They recorded the Mercury Prize-winning album, Seldom Seen Kid, here. And as we speak, they're actually upstairs working on the next album. That's Elbow in the house. Also in action at the moment, the Answering Machine are recording a session for an American radio station. And in the basement, Kid British are rehearsing, Gideon Con, Parish Riots, all local bands who choose to use Blueprint to do the creative stuff, which is great. Justin Timberlake has used this place as well, which is quite a nice thing to put on a blue plaque outside, isn't it? If you're a fan of that sort of music, which I am, Justin, if you're watching it. Yeah, great place, Blueprint, and I like the fact that it's in the city centre. I'm a fan of city centre studios as opposed to residential ones. I think residential studios in the middle of the country, you can sort of lose the plot. Right, lads. Hey.
Clint Boon.
So we're still here in Blueprint Studios, and who should walk in the room but one of the icons of rock drumming in the later end of the 20th century, still from Manchester. It's Mike Joyce. How you doing, Mike?
Doing great, Clint. How are you, mate?
Nice to see you, brother. So yeah, we're doing this thing about we sort of giving Salford the credit it deserves, because it's always in the shadow of Manchester, and we know it's all a big part of the same thing, essentially. But how can we sort of define Salford's contribution to music from Manchester's?
Well, I mean, not being pedantic, but you know, the Mondays, Salford Lads, you know, Hooky, a New Order, you know, Salford Lad.
Yeah.
I think there's always been a blurring of the lines. You know, I mean, the Urwell has a lot to answer for, I think. I mean, I suppose 100 years ago, it was a massive thing. But I remember going down to Pips Disco in the late 70s. And that was very much, there was a divided line there down by the cathedral of the Manchester and Salford thing. And I felt it then. But going down to Salford Lads Club, obviously, when we did the photo session.
Oh, did you do a photo session there?
We did a photo session there with this band that I used to work with, yeah, the Smiths. And it's a great image. The fact that we weren't from Salford, a few people had a go at us about that. But if there would have been a Manchester Lads Club, we would have done it there. But now, no, I mean, it's pretty much, you know, whatever goes.
So when are the Smiths getting back together, Mike?
I was going to ask you that.
Right, I predict 18 months.
In 18 months? Yeah. Right, well, I best go and get my hair cut then. Get ready for it.
It's a shit question, that, isn't it? Well, thanks for talking to us, and keep up the good work, man.
Cheers, nice one.
Mike Joyce. Interesting thing when you look at the Salford music map, there's a couple of churches on there, both very much part of the rock and roll scene around here. They both put gigs on at the Sacred Trinity Church. You tend to do more chill out stuff where people sit around on bean bags and rugs and just listen to nice mellow stuff. Here at St Philip's, or St Phil's as they call it, proper bands like Florence and the Machine, Laura Marling, Bombay Bicycle Club, all recent visitors. The Reverend is a chap called Andy Salmon, who you're going to meet in a few minutes' time. He's a massive music fan, he wears a studded belt, and he's a cool dude, you know. He's a man of the cloth, but he is a cool dude. Not that men of the cloth can't be cool dudes, a lot of them are. I think you should probably go in and meet Mr Salmon. And me, I can't go in there, I'm banished. A bit too much rock and roll.
Welcome to St Philip's Church. This place was built in 1825. People often ask us when we start putting on music, because we have a lot of gigs that we do here, and my answer to that is probably 1825. Churches have always put on music. So this is where they play. Obviously this is a church, it's a living church, and we're proud of that fact. But we're also, churches are built with sound in mind. So there is a fantastic acoustic in here. We like to think we're really at the heart of Salford, and we love putting on the gigs. We also like to engage with the local community. So we like the fact that the Sugar Babes have played here, that Laura Marling has played here, that Florence and the Machine has played here. We like all of that, but we also put on things where the kids from the local school come and sing. Delphic came in here and recorded some stuff. They even played on our organ, which is up above us.
Alright, big fella, just thought I'd pop in and see you've not been in for a while, have I? But I know you've had some top gigs on lately, and I've not been able to get around, you know, but Florence and the Machine, that was a belting gig, I believe, wasn't it? But I had to wash my training shoes that night, so I couldn't make it. And Laura Marling, man, Laura Marling, she's brilliant. And our cat Phoebe was sick that night, so I didn't make that one. And Bombay Bicycle Club last week. Keep up the good work, man. It's brilliant that you're letting us use your gaff, you know, to put this stuff on, because it is cutting edge music, and it's right in the middle of Salford, and that's brilliant. All right, I'll see you later. I won't leave it so long next time, yeah? Nice one, top one, get yourself sorted. Shall we do one?
This
is XFM.
Drive Time
With Clint Boon.
There you go, that's the Salford music map. I've had a top day today. I hope you've enjoyed the little guided tour. It's been good as well revisiting some of the historical locations around the city of Salford and reacquainting yourself with our important past. And it's nice to know, I said early on in the programme about it's, you know, music leaves an impression and a footprint. It's nice to know that I've left a little bit of my size 9s in Salford. I've got another job to do now, so if you'll forgive me, I'll move on. Make sure you get the Salford music map and enjoy the city. I'll see you later. I've got a radio show to do right about now. See you in a bit.
XFM.